such a nice person. What's your name?
My name's Steve. What's yours?
My name's Alex.
That's a nice name. Say, would you like to come to my house for dinner sometime?
Sure, I'd love to, but I have to go to my house now to cook dinner. Bye!
Yeah, I should be going now as well. Bye.
Wait a minute. What was that? Is it just me or did Steve's voice change there? Let's look deeper into the meaning of this. As we all know, the story Alex and Steve is about two people preventing the destruction of the world by the hands of Herobrine. But did you know it's also about the greatest prison escape in all of TV history? As we see, when Herobrine first appears, a guard immediately arrests him. But how did he know that Steve was possessed by Herobrine? Well, you weren't looking closely. As we can see here in this clip of Alex and Steve's first conversation. Steve offers to take Alex to dinner. But what you didn't see was this man here. Who is he? I hear you ask. Here's where it gets weird. When the two go for dinner, we see Steve attempt to convince Alex that the food was bad and said he expected her to be throwing up on the floor by now. But why would Steve cook something that was cause Alex to expel her insides? Because Steve was trying to poison Alex. I know what you're thinking. That's ridiculous. It's about two lovers, not two sworn enemies. What if I were to tell you that this was a subliminal battle of wits? As we saw, the eavesdropper gained the information that Steve would be possessed by Herobrine at this certain time in history. But how did he pick that up from that normal conversation? He didn't. Alex did. For you see, what Steve didn't know was that Alex had been building an immunity to poison before this meeting, knowing Steve would try it off her early on. But what he didn't know was that Alex slipped the elixir that turns you into Herobrine into Steve's food. But why Steve? And why did she do it just so Steve could get arrested, just so she could break him out again? This isn't adding up. Only it is. So tell me, where did Alex get the horses so the two could make their escape? There's a big conspiracy in the background that's supplying them with all these plot devices. Alex leads Steve to a chemist where he gives Steve some strange potion that will remove Herobrine. Isn't this convenient? For if you remember, Herobrine wants to turn this world to ash. And this chemist had lots of knowledge on Herobrine. So are people being possessed by Herobrine left and right? Not quite. For you see, it's no coincidence that they happened to come across an expert. Alex led him there. This chemist is part of the conspiracy. He's the one who gave Alex the elixir that caused Herobrine to possess Steve. But why would she lead him to a person who would just undo the curse she just put on Steve? Well, as you remember, the chemist doesn't remove Herobrine. He just makes him stronger. Well, why does Alex refuse to enter the chemist with Steve? Not out of fear, but out of freedom. She leaves the area to give Herobrine a chance to sneak away. Sneak to his castle. As you remember, Herobrine and Steve are still the same person at this point. So that means if Alex had no inside knowledge, then Steve turned into Herobrine and then sneaked away from the situation and made it all the way to his castle to call the invasion before running back to the village, all without Alex noticing or Steve getting suspicious. Well, you see, Alex is accompanying Steve on his journey to lead him to the destinations that will complete the conspiracy and also to keep him from getting suspicious. Alex pretending to drown when she could actually swim just fine. The guard's urgency to bring Steve to the cafeteria just in time to break out. Alex being disappointed in Steve when she knew he was innocent. The invisible crowd booing. Herobrine not putting up a fight. The king eavesdropping outside Steve's house. Alex, the chemist, the guard, the king, Herobrine, who isn't a part of this at this point. But what if I were to tell you Steve was secretly outplaying everyone? Tell me, why Steve? Alex chose to possess him of all people. Or did Steve choose to possess Herobrine? It would explain why he jumps in and out of the form at the oddest moments. As we see, Herobrine chases Alex to her doom. Or did Steve do it? Maybe he got cocky and chased her in, knowing that she could swim out just fine on her own but choosing to dive in and help her anyway. To gain her trust. To make her think he was still tricked by this ploy. But it doesn't matter how many ploys that were at play. There is one man who is head of it all. So, what did it all lead to? The Wither. The Wither was released from the portal by Herobrine to wreak havoc upon the land. But why? What did it achieve? As we can see, Alex and Steve were told everyone should evacuate but they should stay behind and defend the village. So which is it? This whole situation is chaos and everyone's panicking. The whole situation is so ridiculous that no one noticed. Amongst the chaos, the perfect opportunity. All the guards were defending the village. No one was watching the real mastermind. The pull-stringer of the whole thing. The person who was lying in wait for the perfect opportunity. The perfect chance to escape. And that is how Alex and Steve is the greatest prison break show ever.